Hi, hi Jane Eyre fans. This is my third video blog and I will be doing two books. Jayne Slayre, which I'm not going to bother trying to pronounce the name of the author because I'd probably get it wrong, and Plain Janey, which sadly I don't have the book for to show you because I bought it on Kindle, but it's done by a person named Brown. I can't pronounce their first name, but I know their last name is Brown. And we'll start with Jayne Slayre. Jayne Slayre is one of those books that's part of the new fad of taking a classic piece of literature like Pride and Prejudice, Little Women, Jane Eyre, and putting supernatural elements like werewolves, vampires, and zombies. And Jane Eyre does not disappoint if you're someone who really likes this fad that's going around, because it has all three. It has vampires, it has werewolves, it has zombies, and the way they're done is pretty interesting. Bertha is obviously a werewolf, no surprise there. I thought the way they did Jayne's childhood and adding the zombies was interesting, as well as making Jayne's family, the Reeds, all vampires. I thought that was an interesting little twist. And I also really like the fact that pretty much the original novel is in here. Many of the pages are basically just taken from the original work with, changes to individual scenes. But the original work is pretty much intact, especially the language. So if you really liked the language from the original, don't worry, it's still in here. So I would really, really recommend Jayne Slayre to any Jane Eyre fan. I think you'll get a real kick out of this retold version. Although there are some scenes which are a little bit hard to understand. Some of the action scenes, it's really hard to picture what's going on, and I had a tendency to get a little bit confused on who was where. But all in all, very good read. Definitely would recommend this. I really, really strongly suggest that you buy it and read it. It is a very, very good read. And now for my next book, Plain Janey. This one is an interesting retelling in which Jane Eyre is an author and Rochester is a book publisher. This one, it's kind of on the fence whether I think it's good or bad. I read it all the way through, which is, I suppose, a good thing, but I didn't really like the interpretation. The author, Brown, kind of copied a little bit of Jane Austen in the way Jane and Edward interact. It's kind of that love-hate thing that a lot of Austen novels have, where at first she absolutely hates him, then she likes him, then she's in love with him. So I kind of didn't like that, because I don't really like it when people blend Jane Austen and Jane Eyre, because a lot of people who are fans of Jane Eyre are constantly confused to be as well as Jane Austen fans. They believe that it goes hand in hand, which it doesn't. Personally, I am not a Jane Austen fan. No offense to anyone who is a Jane Austen fan. There's nothing wrong with liking classic literature, but I didn't like that aspect of Plain Janey. I would recommend this book only if you're someone who likes Jane Austen too. If you like Jane Austen novels as well, you probably would like Plain Janey, because you'll probably like that character interaction of the love-hate, which is very common in Austen novels. So that's the only group of people I would recommend it for, is people who happen to be both fans of Jane Eyre and Jane Austen. As far as straight-up Jane Eyre fans, this is one I really wouldn't recommend unless you're one of those people who has to read anything Jane Eyre related, because it is a modern retelling of Jane Eyre. But basically what they take is some of the story aspects and character names. I thought the way they deal with Thornfield Hall was interesting, how they dealt with that concept. And Blanche Ingram has an interesting part in this novel, but not much going for it. So if you're someone who likes Jane Eyre, you don't have to read everything Jane Eyre related. I would not recommend this book. But if you're one of those other two categories I mentioned earlier, you should read it. I'd probably suggest you get the Kindle version though, because it's cheaper. But you can do whatever you want. So those are my book reviews for this video, and I will see you next time.